You drink your milk, you take your calcium supplements, but your bone density scan still shows you are losing bone mass. Why? Because you are likely doing everyday things that are actively leaching the calcium right out of your skeleton. Today, we expose the 4 hidden bone thieves. This video is for educational purposes only. Osteoporosis is a serious medical condition that increases your risk of fractures. This video is not intended to diagnose, treat, or cure osteoporosis. Always consult your doctor or rheumatologist before changing your diet, exercise routine, or supplements. The goal here is to manage and support your bone health naturally alongside your medical care. Now, let me explain the trap that so many people miss. Your body does not casually let blood calcium swing all over the place. It keeps calcium under tight control because calcium is essential for nerve signaling, muscle contraction, and bone structure. And because almost all of your calcium is stored in bones and teeth, your skeleton acts like a major reserve bank. Here is the part that frustrates people. If the body senses that mineral balance is under pressure, it may pull from the bone reservoir to keep the bloodstream stable. That is why some people are doing the right things on paper, milk, supplements, maybe even calcium tablets, yet their scans still trend in the wrong direction. The problem is not always just intake. Sometimes the real issue is that daily habits are increasing loss faster than the body can rebuild. So in the next few minutes, I want you to think in a new way. Instead of asking only, "Am I getting enough calcium?" ask, "What is quietly pulling calcium out of my body every single day?" That is the question that changes everything. Bone thief number 1. Excessive sodium. This one is sneaky, because most people do not think of salt as a bone issue. They think of bloating, blood pressure, maybe water retention. But sodium can also influence how much calcium your kidneys send out in urine. In plain English, the more sodium your body has to dump, the more calcium can get dragged along for the ride. And that is why this is not just about the salt shaker on your kitchen table. The real problem is usually ultra-processed food, packaged snacks, fast food, and restaurant meals. Those foods are often loaded with sodium long before you ever reach for the shaker. So a person may believe they are eating normally, while their kidneys are quietly working overtime to clear a sodium burden that can work against bone conservation. Here is the deeper issue. If your bone density is already under pressure, you do not want daily habits that increase mineral loss in the background. That is the problem with sodium overload. It is often invisible, repetitive, and normalized. You are not going to feel it in the moment. You may only see the consequence later on a DEXA scan, when the numbers tell a very different story. So this is your first bone thief lesson. Do not just ask how much calcium you are taking in. Ask how much sodium is pushing calcium out. If your diet is dominated by processed meals, takeout, sauces, cured foods, and salty snacks, your body may be dealing with a constant leaching pressure that makes bone support much harder than it needs to be. Bone thief number 2. Phosphoric acid in soda. Now we get to one of the most misunderstood bone thieves of all. Dark colas. People often think soda is just a sugar problem or a weight problem. But for bone health, the bigger issue is that many colas contain phosphoric acid, which can throw off the mineral environment your body is trying to keep balanced. Here is the key idea. Your body is constantly trying to maintain a very narrow mineral balance, especially between calcium and phosphorus. When that balance gets disturbed too often, the body has to work harder to keep the bloodstream stable. And when the body is under that kind of pressure, it does not always choose the bones first. That is when the skeleton can become the backup reservoir. That is why this matters so much for people already worried about osteopenia or osteoporosis. If your daily routine includes soda, especially dark cola, you are not just adding an empty drink to your day. You may be adding a repeated mineral stressor that works against the exact thing you are trying to protect, bone density. And there is another layer here. When people drink soda regularly, it often replaces more bone-supportive choices like mineral-rich water, herbal teas, or meals that actually help the body build instead of drain. So the soda habit is not just what it contains, it is also what it crowds out. That is how a small daily choice can slowly become a silent sabotage of bone support. So remember this. Bone thief number 2 is not just too much sugar. It is the mineral imbalance pressure that comes from frequent phosphoric acid soda intake. If you are serious about supporting your skeleton, this is one of the first drinks that deserves a hard look. Bone thief number 3. Excessive caffeine. Before anyone panics and throws away their morning coffee, let me be very clear. A moderate amount of coffee is generally not the problem. The concern begins when caffeine intake becomes excessive and starts working against your body's ability to retain the minerals your bones need. This is where many people get confused. They hear that coffee contains antioxidants and may have health benefits, so they assume more is better. But when it comes to bone health, balance matters. Here's the mechanism. Caffeine acts as a mild diuretic, meaning it can increase fluid loss through urine. When this happens repeatedly throughout the day, small amounts of calcium can be lost before the body has an opportunity to efficiently incorporate those minerals into bone tissue. Think of it like trying to fill a swimming pool while someone has left the drain slightly open. One day doesn't matter much. But month after month, year after year, those small losses can become meaningful. The bigger problem is what often accompanies high caffeine consumption. Many people who rely on large amounts of coffee or energy drinks are also sleeping less, experiencing more stress, and paying less attention to nutrition. Bone health does not exist in isolation. Your skeleton is constantly responding to signals from the entire body. If recovery, nutrition, and mineral balance are compromised, bones may not receive the support they need for ongoing maintenance and rebuilding. Consider the person who starts the day with 2 large coffees, follows that with caffeinated soda at lunch, then reaches for an energy drink in the afternoon. Individually, each choice may seem harmless. Collectively, they can create a pattern that increases calcium losses while reducing opportunities for proper recovery and mineral utilization. That is when caffeine transforms from a helpful stimulant into a potential bone health obstacle. The key takeaway is simple. The issue is not enjoying coffee. The issue is excessive caffeine becoming a daily habit. If you are concerned about osteopenia or osteoporosis, it may be worth evaluating not just how much calcium you consume, but also how many opportunities you are giving your body to lose it. Supporting bone density often means reducing the silent drains before adding more supplements. Bone thief number 4. The sedentary lifestyle and Wolff's Law. This final bone thief may be the most surprising of all because it has nothing to do with what you eat or drink. It has to do with what your body believes you need. And to understand this, you need to know about a principle called Wolff's Law. In simple terms, Wolff's Law states that bone is living tissue that adapts to the demands placed upon it. When bones experience healthy mechanical stress, they become stronger. When they are not challenged, they become weaker over time. Think about it from your body's perspective. Your brain is constantly gathering information about how you move. Are you walking? Climbing stairs? Lifting objects? Performing resistance exercises? Or are you sitting for most of the day? Your body is incredibly efficient. It does not like wasting resources. If it receives the message that strong bones are rarely needed, it may gradually reduce the resources dedicated to maintaining them. This is why sitting too much can become a hidden bone thief. When the skeleton is underused, the body receives fewer signals that dense, resilient bone tissue is required. Over time, bone building activity can slow while bone breakdown continues at its normal pace. The result is a gradual decline in bone strength and density. And the frightening part is that this process can happen silently for years before it appears on a DEXA scan. Now here's the empowering news. Unlike many risk factors, this is one you can directly influence. You do not need to become a marathon runner. In fact, some of the most effective bone-supportive activities are surprisingly simple. Walking, resistance training, bodyweight exercises, carrying groceries, climbing stairs, and other forms of weight-bearing movement. These activities create the mechanical signals that tell your body, these bones are important. Keep investing in them. Imagine your skeleton as a construction site. Calcium, magnesium, and other nutrients are the building materials. But exercise is the foreman giving instructions. Without those instructions, the materials may never be directed where they are needed most. You can consume all the calcium in the world, but if the body is not receiving the signal to build stronger bones, the results may be disappointing. So here is the takeaway from Bone Thief number 4. Bones are not passive structures. They are living tissues that respond to demand. If you spend most of your day sitting, your body may interpret that as a signal that less bone strength is required. But when you consistently engage in safe, weight-bearing activity, you provide the exact message your skeleton has been waiting to hear: stay strong, stay dense, stay supported. The rebuilding strategy. Stop the leaks first. Now you can see why so many people become frustrated. They take calcium supplements. They drink milk. They try to eat healthier. Yet their bone density numbers continue to decline. Why? Because adding more calcium while hidden bone thieves are still active is like pouring water into a bucket full of holes. The first step is not simply adding more minerals. The first step is stopping unnecessary losses. Once you reduce those daily calcium drains, the next step is helping your body properly utilize the minerals you consume. Bone health is not just about calcium. It is about absorption, mineral balance, and supporting the bone matrix itself. That includes nutrients such as magnesium, vitamin D, and vitamin K2, along with healthy lifestyle habits that encourage bone-building activity. And most importantly, always consult your doctor for regular DEXA scans, medical evaluation, and osteoporosis management. Your healthcare provider can help monitor your progress and determine the most appropriate treatment plan for your individual needs. If you want a step-by-step blueprint for supporting bone health naturally, consider exploring a comprehensive bone density support protocol. Programs such as the Bone Density Solution teach strategies for optimizing nutrient absorption, balancing key minerals, supporting healthy bone remodeling, and building a lifestyle that works with your body's natural bone maintenance systems. Remember, the goal is not simply to consume more calcium. The goal is to create an environment where your body can retain, utilize, and support healthy bone structure over time. If you'd like to learn more, check the link in the description for the Bone Health Optimization Blueprint. This video is for educational purposes only and is not intended to diagnose, treat, or cure osteoporosis. Osteoporosis is a serious medical condition that requires proper medical evaluation and management. Always consult your doctor, rheumatologist, or qualified healthcare provider before making changes to your diet, exercise program, medications, or supplements. The information shared today is intended to support informed discussions with your healthcare team and help you optimize your bone health safely.